My childhood home, built in the early 1900s, had a basement that was the stuff of nightmares. A single, bare light bulb hung from a pull chain, casting long, dancing shadows on the cold, damp stone walls. The air was thick with the smell of earth and something else, something old and forgotten. The basement door, a heavy slab of dark wood, never had a lock. My parents always said it was because nothing down there was worth stealing. We never questioned it. For years, that door just swung freely on its creaky hinges. One rainy afternoon in 2005, when I was about 15, my mom asked me to grab a box of old photo albums from the basement. I remember hesitating, the familiar knot of dread tightening in my stomach. I hated that basement, always had. It just felt wrong, but I didn't want to argue. So I pulled the string for the light bulb and headed down the rickety wooden stairs, their groans echoing in the silence. The albums were in a corner, stacked under a dusty canvas sheet. I found them quickly, eager to get back upstairs. As I turned to leave, I heard a sound that made my blood run cold. A solid, definitive click. I froze, halfway up the stairs. It couldn't be. I walked back to the door and pushed. Nothing. I pushed harder, my shoulder digging into the wood. It was solid, unmoving. I reached for the doorknob, a simple, old-fashioned brass knob. I twisted and pulled, rattling it with growing panic. It was locked. My first thought was that my brother was playing a prank. "Ha ha, very funny, Mike," I yelled, my voice trembling. "Let me out." Silence. Only the drip, drip, drip of water somewhere in the darkness answered me. My heart hammered against my ribs. Mom, Dad, anyone. My shouts felt small and weak, swallowed by the oppressive quiet of the basement. I started banging on the door, screaming until my throat was raw. No response. Hours must have passed. The single light bulb flickered, threatening to plunge me into complete darkness. My panic slowly gave way to a chilling, primal fear. I wasn't just trapped. I was being watched. I could feel it, a heavy presence in the shadows, just beyond the reach of the light. I backed away from the door, pressing myself against the cold, damp stone wall, my eyes darting around the room. Every shadow seemed to move, to twist into monstrous shapes. The pile of old furniture looked like a slumbering beast. The rows of canned goods on the shelves looked like silent, judging eyes. I started talking to myself, just to break the silence. I told myself it was my imagination, that the old house was just playing tricks on me. But the feeling of being observed only grew stronger. Then I heard it, a soft scratching sound coming from the far corner of the basement, the darkest part. It was slow, deliberate. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause, like fingernails dragging across stone. I didn't dare move. I could barely breathe. The scratching stopped, and a low whisper slithered through the air. It wasn't in English or any language I recognized. It was a guttural, ancient sound that seemed to vibrate in my very bones. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for it to stop, for this to be a nightmare. The whispering grew louder, closer. I could feel a cold draft, as if something was moving towards me. Suddenly, the light bulb above me exploded in a shower of sparks. plunging the basement into absolute blackness. The whispering was right next to my ear now. A freezing touch grazed my neck, and I let out a scream that was pure, unadulterated terror. At that exact moment, I heard a key turning in a lock, and the basement door creaked open. My dad stood at the top of the stairs, a flashlight in his hand. "What's all the screaming about?" "I was out in the garage. I just got back." He said the door had been wide open when he came inside. He never saw a key. He never saw a lock. To this day, there is no lock on that door. I never went into that basement again. We moved out a year later, but sometimes, in the dead of night, I can still hear that whispering, and I can still feel that cold, unexplainable touch on my neck. Whatever was in that basement, it locked me in, and a part of it never let me go. Thanks for listening. If you have your own unexplained story, share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more. Stay safe.